Hello guys, my name is Phil once again. In this video series tutorial, I'm going to teach you about C# fundamentals. So let's dive in. Okay, C# launched a .NET platform. C# launched in the .NET platform was developed by Microsoft in between 1999 and 2002. The reason was like C# as a .NET platform developed by Microsoft is in response to the Java technology. At that time, Java technology or Java as a language platform was successful in all fields of software development. That's why Microsoft released .NET platform and C# as a language. C# is a very modern, general-purpose, object-oriented, and high-level programming language. It derives so many features from C and C++. That's why it's similar in syntax to C and C++, and is easier for beginners to program in C# if they have C and C++ basics. As every instructors do, we are going to start with our very first C# program, the simplest C# program. This has three components: the class, the method, and content of the method. Here, string, as I argues, is a parameter which is optional parameter. You can avoid or ignore this parameter. So the three basic, very necessary elements of the simplest C# program are: you have to define a class, you have to define a method, and then you need to have a content or body of the main method. So the three parts or elements of simple C# program consists definition of a class. Let's say hello C#, definition of a method, main, and contents of the method. Here, in order to have a source code, a code which is very easier to read, very simple to understand, you need to have a formatted source code. The rules for formatting source code are: first, methods of a program should be intended inside the definition of the class. In our example, the main method is a little bit intended inside the definition of the class. Here, definition of class is limited by this curly brace. So inside this curly brace we have a main method definition, and which is intended inside to the right side. The second rule is main method contents, or in general, method contents are indented inside the definition of the class. You see, system.console write line hello C# is a content of this function. So it should be intended to the right side. Most of the time, one tap, or you can count 5 white spaces. Always the opening and closing curly brackets must be on its own line and placed exactly under the method or the class. Here we have opening curly brace or bracket. See this one? It is on its own line and is exactly under the definition, under the name of the class, under the name of or the signature of the method. All class names must start with capital letter. Here, the name of the class is Hello C Sharp. You see, H is capital, so always, name of classes should start with capital letter. Same is true for the name of functions. You see, M is capital, so you have to capitalize the first letter of classes and methods. For variables, actually we don't have variables. Yeah, we have a variable here, args. You see, A is small, so name of variables should start with lowercase letters or with small letters. So these are some of the rules to format your source codes. Here, file names are corresponded to class names. In C# program, you can have one or more classes. Thus, classes can be defined in a single file, but defining multiple classes in the same file may cause a problem. The problem is navigating to use source codes from one class to another class. Still, it's gonna work even if you define several classes in the same file, but it is better and acceptable that each of your classes should be defined in a separate file. So if you're about to name a class, let's say this class Hello C Sharp, then the name of this file should be hello C Sharp.cs. That is how you have to name your classes, and it's better to create a separate class for each of your class definitions. There are C# keywords, which are the programming constructors for C# as a programming language, which has a special meaning for the language. Like we have listed down some of the keywords. We will see how we can use those keywords in some of our examples throughout the video series tutorial. Here I need to raise an idea about API. At least you need to know what API is. It is an abbreviation which stands for Application Programming Interface. This is simply a set of public class and methods which are distributed as a DLL or exe file most of the time as an assembly or DLL files as libraries. So the .NET Technologies offers several public APIs. Like if you want to include like creating PDF documents in your applications, you need to have API for creating PDF documents. So it is necessary how you can create APIs. It is necessary to know how you can create API, how you can access API, where you can get public APIs. What do we need to program in C#? We need two basic elements. To start programming in C#. One is the .NET framework and a text editor. The purpose of the .NET framework is to compile and execute C# codes, and the text editor is to write and edit source code. So by default in Windows, it is installed by default. .NET framework is installed along with Windows. But in old version of Windows, it could be missing, so you need to download it from download.microsoft.com. So once you have the .NET framework either way or having installed along with your Windows or downloading it from downloads.microsoft.com, the second element that you need is text editor in order to start programming in C#. In Windows, there is a built-in application called Notepad, or you can download a free text editor like Notepad++ or PHpad. There are different text editors. The built-in Notepad application of Windows is a very basic but very difficult to use. It is not comfortable. You better use the free text editor, which is Notepad++, or you can have another free text editors. How can we use the .NET framework to compile and execute C# programs? The first step is you need to create a file named any valid file name for C# file with extension of .cs. Then you need to have a sample program in that particular file. For example, the very simple C# program that you have seen as an example, this one. Write down this source code into your file. Then after, you have to compile the file. Compiling C# file means converting it to executable file. Here, hello C#.cs is converted to what? To hello C#.exe once you have compiled the file. Then to execute it, simply run the hello C#.exe file. This is how we can compile and execute C# program. Even if you are using the advanced IDE like Visual Studio, these are the steps to compile and execute C# programs. Now we are going to demonstrate how we can create C# file, how we can compile and execute using Windows console app or Windows command console, or sometimes it's known as the command prompt. So the first step is run the console as administrator. So let's go back to start menu. I have a shortcut here, but if you don't have, go to all apps, scroll down until you find Windows Systems, and here it is, command prompt. Right click on it, then go to more, then here run as administrator. Before that, you can pin it to start bar, or you can directly run it as administrator. So let's run it as administrator. Yes, yeah, here it is. Let's go back to our slide. It says, after opening the command prompt, let's create a directory in which we will experiment. There are two basic commands that we are going to use. One is md, which helps us to create directory or folder, and cd helps us to navigate into it. Once we are in it, we can perform some additional activities which helps us to create the file, compile and execute the C# program. So let's create. First we need to navigate it to C, then we will create a folder called like C# fundamentals, then we will create a file called hello C#. Okay, let's navigate to C drive. Now we are in C drive. Let's create a folder called like C#. C# fundamentals, press enter, then cd C#. C# fundamentals, we are in it. Okay, what's next? Here we need to create a file, like we have to use notepad, the name of the file that we want to create. Let's say hello C# .cs. Its extension should be .cs, otherwise it will create it as a .txt file. So press enter. Here it is prompting us to create the file. Cannot find the hello C#.cs file. Do you want to create a new file? Yes. Now we have to write the code. Class hello C#. Here, name of the class should be the same as the file name, hello C#. Then we need to have an opening bracket and closing bracket. This limits the definition of the class. Inside this, we have to intend the body of or the content of the class. Like I'm gonna count 5 white spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or you can press tab. Then static void name. Again tab, opening bracket, tab, then content of the main method, system dot console dot write line. Then here hello C#. Now we have to close the definition of the method and save it. Okay, now what's left is to compile the file. In order to compile the file, as I have told you before, we need the .NET framework. Already my operating system is Windows 10, so there is already installed .NET framework in my operating system. So if I just compile directly, there will be an error. In order to compile a C# program, I need C# compiler called csc.exe file. That is the C# compiler. I can use this either by specifying the full path of the C# compiler or by adding its path into system paths as a variable. So let me show you first by specifying the full path. Go to C drive, then Windows, then Microsoft.NET. Then here I have the framework installed. The latest version is version 4.0.30319. Open it. Here is the compiler. This one is the compiler. C# program compiler. csc.exe. Now I need to specify the path. Copy it and go back to the window console. Here you have to paste it. Then name of the compiler is csc, then file name of the C# program, which is hello C# .cs. Here, before I press enter, I'm going to take you to this folder, C# fundamentals. C# fundamentals. Here there is only one file, hello C#.cs. Once I press enter here, it should create another file, compiling C# program. Oh, C# file means converting it to .exe. So let's press enter and go back to the folder. See, another file is created. This file is converted to executable file. Okay, so we have compiled it. Now, in order to execute it, simply write the file name hello C#. You see, I just executed the C# program by simply writing its name already. That is because the executable file is created. So it displays what? Hello C#. This is one way. This is one way. The other way, the second way is you have to specify the path of the compiler in systems path. So let's go back to Windows, Microsoft.NET, framework, then the latest version. Copy this path, right click on this PC, properties, advanced system settings, environment variable, then select paths and click on edit button. Now paste it right here, paste, then press OK, again OK, again OK. Close this one and go back to the command prompt. Let's restart this window console. Close it, again go back to start menu, then right click on the shortcut more, run as administrator. Yes, here we go. Let's go back to C drive and go to C# fundamentals. We are in it. Now we can simply write the name hello C#. .cs hello C#.cs. But here we have to use what? CSC in order to compile it. See, it is working now without specifying the path of this compiler. Then hello C#. See, it's working. We have done it in both ways. Or you can simply go to C# fundamentals, then you can directly double click on this executable file. It has executed but vanished automatically immediately. The reason is, let's add another statement, system dot console dot read key. This will enforce the black console command to wait until you press key. Save it, Let's close it. Go over here. Let's recompile it. Execute it. It displays hello C#. You see, until you press any key, it doesn't respond. So press key, then it's responding. Again, you can double click this one. You see, now it's waiting until you press any key. If you press any key, then it will immediately be terminated. Yeah, it's working. Okay, let's go back to our slide. Instead of Notepad, you can enter your Visual Studio ID. This is the powerful integrated environment for different purposes. You can use Visual Studio IDE to write C# code, C++ codes, VB.NET codes, F# codes. You can use it to compile. You can use it to debug. You can use it to develop different applications, desktop applications, mobile applications, web-based applications. There are different templates which can help you to develop different software. Visual Studio has different explorers like Start Page, the Code Editor, Error List, Solution Explorer, Properties. Start Page helps you to quickly open up recently created or used projects or files. Code Editor helps you to write and edit source codes. Error List shows errors, warnings. Solution Explorer helps you to display project files, static files, and the source code. You can also open up multiple projects at the same time. You can see purpose of projects. Let's see how we can create C# project using the Visual ID, Visual Studio ID. Here is the way you can create a new project. Click Create a new project. It's loading the project templates. It's gonna come up with recent project templates here, but you can select the launch from here, the platform, which platform do you want, the services, everything you need. Now what I need is C# console app, C# console app here, console app with C#. So select it here, or you can write it here like this, console see console app.net core. Your console app for C++ or for other languages, but let's select this one. Then next, let's give it a name. Let's say hello C#. and let's specify its location to the folder that we have created it in our previous example. C# fundamentals. Select the folder, then create. It's creating the project. Let's wait until it creates the project. It means a time to create the new project because it generates the default source code for the new project. That's why it's taking its time. Here we go. This is the default C# console program. Here, let's give it a name. It's saying program can give it any name, but we can use it as it is, or we can give it any name like hello C#. Save, then save. We need to add one statement, console dot. You see, the advantage of this ID is it helps you by generating the possible commands, the possible methods that you want to use. So I just want to use read key. I just press a tab and it automatically completes the remaining letters of the function. Then this enforces the black console app to wait until it pairs. Okay, hello C#. To compile, go to build and press build solution. It's building or compiling. Until it builds. Let me show you here. I have created an error deliberately. I missed the semicolon, so here it is showing that there is an error. You can see it here. One error. Click right here and it shows up the error. It says what? Semicolon expected. At which project? Hello C#. File program.cs. Line 9. You see, it is line number 9. So I have to go to that line and add this semicolon and press save. It's saved. Okay, let's see the output. Build is successful. Go to debug. Debug means execute. So start debug. Now we are trying to run the executable file. During debug or compilation, it creates the executable file. Yeah, it displays hello C sharp. If I press any key, it will disappear. Yeah, as I have told you, you can delete this one because it is optional. Then can use start without debugging. See? Right. Okay, so we have seen the basic concepts of C sharp. In the next video, we are going to discuss about another topic. Till then, goodbye. Thanks for watching.